Okay, our next speaker this morning is the Honorable Kenson Casimir, the Minister for Education, Youth Development, Sports, and Digital Transformation. Minister.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, everybody. Seeing some new faces and some familiar historic faces in our midst this morning. Okay, that's good. That's good. Good progress.
Make sure phones are on silent, please. Thank you.
Yes. Go ahead. Okay. Yes, so this morning I would just want to put on record some of what's happening in my constituency and, of course, my ministry. We know for sure that a lot has been happening in the communities in Grosile. On the social spectrum, we started a program, Development 101, which is really aimed at ensuring that the younger individuals between the ages of 15 and 37, they are set on the correct path in terms of their mental work, in terms of goal setting, in terms of conflict resolution, in terms of those substantive issues that we are dealing with as a society right now. We try to nip it at the bud earlier to set them on the right track. And so that has been going very well. We started last week and we're expecting to end this Friday. I would like to invite the media to, attend some of those sessions to see for themselves. We also have the Grosile Football League competition going on very, very well. As we speak, we have the likes of GMC United booking the place to the business end of this tournament. Of course, Northern United, Moshi United, and the team from Babono, New Generation, doing very well in this tournament so far. I did say that this term I would be looking to balance the social interventions a lot more with the infrastructural developments. We did a lot of infrastructural work in Grosile, and we're certainly expecting to continue. And so we currently have the Ashkosh Road in Riviera near completion. It's like 99% complete, and we are certainly hoping to honor Ashkosh. Philip, individual bus driver from that community, passed away a few years ago. Very influential young man. We're hoping to have a ribbon cutting ceremony in the month of March to officially open that road. Deramo Road continues. We are about 20% complete with that project. Vary Lord Avenue, what we call Paul Lord Drive, that section leading to this individual who's been a community activist for a number of years and worked with local government. We're expecting to start some work on that at the end of March. Casaba Link Road with Beauséjour, that is 50% complete. Moulavan Road is at an advanced stage, and we're certainly hoping to have this complete by the end of March. Raidry Road next to the Volney's gas station, 50% complete. The Margaret de Turbid Road in Casaba, 50% complete. Piat, we have 3 roads that we are currently bringing some relief to residents in the community of Piat. But we have the road going up to the former President of the Senate. We have some works ongoing here. We had some issues with the Wasco drain, but we have continued some work there, and we're certainly hoping that very soon we can complete that road. Piat Road to Tipa's house. Tipa is a popular individual in the neighborhood. We have to rename that road. That road is nearing 55% completion. And of course, we also have a road completed in a Mountain View Piat, 100% complete. We also started some drainage work in the community of Grosile Town near the Friday night. We've had some issues with individuals parking heavy equipment on grills. And so we have a situation where almost every 3-4 months we have damaged grills near the Grosile Friday night. We've started some work in that area to provide some relief. In the Ministry of Sports, we have a lot ongoing. This Saturday night, the 14th of February, we are hosting Sports Awards with Love. So we know it's a Valentine's night. I would have preferred to have been somewhere else, but we know the tradition of the National Sports Awards. It's held the Saturday, the final Saturday before Independence every year. My PS felt that we should have kept that tradition. I would have held a different perspective, but we have the National Sports Awards with Love on Saturday night at Royalton. Of course, we will be honoring the works of our department and the administrators and athletes who continue to excel, the likes of Julian Alfred, Naomi London in terms of recognition, in terms of the other athletes in cricket, Akimo Geese, and of course some of the works done by the associations. Boxing had a very good year. We know athletics, of course, swimming, and of course alternative sports continues to grow in St. Lucia. And we also have a very well burgeoning chess in terms of alternative sports in St. Lucia. A semi-pro football league, we are off season, and as we said, semi-pro is development on and off the field. While we are going to compensate our athletes, we are also going to be using sports as an avenue to develop them socially, and so we will be commencing some programs in finance management. As I said in a previous interview, many of our footballers before semi-pro did not have a bank account. Now that they have a bank account, they seem to be spending the money and not necessarily managing it. So we'll be doing a money management course with them. And of course, some of our footballers still get into some issues in terms of conflict. So we will be doing a conflict resolution course with them before the official start of the tournament in April. And we'll be looking for some commentators. We are looking for commentators for our semi-pro, both cricket and football, because commentary really sparks the interest in what's happening on the field. And so we will be approaching either students from South Louis who are doing literature and English, or anybody who loves sports, who believe that they can speak to what's happening on the field and provide description. We do have a revenue stream for that as part of semi-professional football. So we will be providing some training in that regard as well. Island Champs slated for March this year. Of course, on the weekend, we continue to prepare for Island Champs. We know our students are very, very interested in being part of that activity, and so we have inter-house competitions happening all over St. Lucia as we speak. Ministry of Education, a lot of work happening over the last week. The CARE program, we met with the Prime Minister and other officials from the ministry along with CARE to really discuss a mechanism to ensure that we finance care as best as we can as a government, really focus on those TVET studies, skill studies with care, and specifically to really grab our young men and set them on the right track as early as possible. We're having discussions on how we can persuade them away from the 6 and 7 gangs. The recruitment starts very early into those gangs, and so we're going to use care and provide some of the social initiatives to ensure that we get our young men on the right path. Very fruitful meeting, and so I'm very happy with the direction we are heading to. Our Cuban students, we met with them on Thursday virtually, along with the Ambassador Isaac, and high officials from the Ministry of Education. We met with them to brief them on the progress and what we as a ministry have been doing to prepare for any eventuality. And I think they left that meeting knowing that we are on top of things, and we're certainly hoping that we continue to set the right path. I will stop here right now, because if I have to continue on all what we are doing, you will not have any chance for questions. So thank you very much. Questions?
Good morning, Minister. Or afternoon, sorry. We understand from that meeting, one of the things that was discussed was the possibility of an evacuation plan for the students. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
So let me just provide some clarity. First and foremost, what I've observed over the last 4 years, being a part of Philip J. Pierre's cabinet, the reason the man is a mystery is because he plans very early and very far ahead. You see, a lot of people define certain things in the political arena differently. They gravitate to certain things that suit them. Some people believe vision is having pie in the sky desires of perhaps additional islands in St. Lucia, big, exorbitant things that we may not be able to afford. What I've learned is vision, when it speaks to Philip J. Pierre, is being 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. Very early in the second term, conversation started in cabinet about every single student that is overseas, every single eventuality, possibility. And so when he speaks, it's from the position of preparedness and a vision for what may happen. That is what you want in a leader. That is what I admire most about Philip J. Pierre. So everything in terms of an evacuation plan, everything in terms of what may happen if Cuba has to pull away the scholarships, very early, the day I became Minister of Education, the instructions, the discussions, all of that at a cabinet level. And so evacuation plans in terms of what happens, should there be, we certainly hope not, doesn't seem like it will happen, some form of an attack, that has been discussed months ago. If at the end of the day the students may need to go to a different school, the groundwork for that started months ago as well in terms of conversations with different institutions, well, specifically UE, that has been ongoing. We've had to date about 4 meetings in terms of the ministry and UE and Cuba. And so we feel very, very prepared. The mystery that they cannot read is the fact that the man looks way ahead of all eventualities, and he just asks his ministers to be prepared.
One of the concerns from the students, I understand, at the meeting was those who are on their internship year, and would it be possible for them to do that internship in St. Lucia? Can you tell us anything on this front?
Well, again, in terms of all the discussions that we've had with other institutions, we have garnered all the information of the 57 students that are currently in Cuba. Are they on the first year? Are they on the 5th year where they are? And the planning that we have done includes those individuals that need to actually, they have finished with their coursework and they need their clinicals, and the possibilities of filling them or bringing them into various institutions to get their clinicals done, whether it is that we can speak to the association in St. Lucia to allow them to complete some of the clinicals as well. All of that, we've been ahead of getting those things together for more than a month now. So I think the meeting went very well, and I think they understand that we are prepared.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
Morning, Minister.
Morning, sir.
Question more so centered, since you're the power rep for the area. I just wanted to get your, opinion on the situation that's been unfolding on the Norbe Road. I know both of the contending parties have given their perspectives, but at the end of the day, it is a public project, and then,
Are you speaking to Lucilec and the contractor?
Yeah, I'm speaking about Lucilec and Mr. Reno Kajada regarding that public road project. Your opinion on that, how...
Me as the MP, I just want those things moved. I want already for us to realign those electrical poles. I can share with you that it's not cheap to do that. We're looking at in excess of $500,000 to actually get them aligned properly and all the electrical work and that sort of thing. So for me, I don't really get involved in the nitty-gritty of individuals, having different opinions on how. It needs to get done. It needs to get done, and it needs to get done yesterday. So this week I will be placing some calls from my perspective as a parliamentary rep to get this done, because I wouldn't want for anything to happen and then for us to say what if. But I've heard some of the discussions on both sides, and I believe that's something that needs to happen this week. And so I will do my best to influence that process to ensure that it happens.
Anything as a Minister of Education on the child that passed away at the Rosa Combined School?
Okay, so for me as the Minister of Education, I place calls to both the schools, in terms of the principal, the family. At that particular time, it was very difficult to connect with any of them. They were very, very emotional at that time. I wasn't here last weekend. I was told that Minister Butcher visited the family, actually finally got to meet with the family. What I will say is, as from my vantage point, there are about 6 or 7 different iterations of what actually happened, what went on when. That's why I think, it would be irresponsible of me to really say with any level of certainty what actually happened. And so that is why I'm being patient to hear from, of course, the medical fraternity and, of course, the police who are investigating the matter to find out exactly what happened. Now, 2 months ago, I think it was within the first week of being well, a month and a half ago, we had some high-level meetings with officials from the ministry, and one of the things we said from that meeting was that every single teacher needs to be trained in first aid. I'm not saying that this is what happened, but every single teacher. Teaching is a profession that requires retraining as much as possible, as often as possible. We do have some of the teachers that did some of the courses with Red Cross, but we do not have all of our teachers trained in first aid. And so that is one of the priorities me as a minister will definitely gravitate towards, to ensure that these sort of eventualities, you have some plan. You must have an emergency plan when it actually occurs at a school. But until I get something concrete from the medical fraternity, from the legal fraternity, that is my position right now.
Good morning, Mr. Minister. Julian Alfred just achieved, I believe, the next milestone in the 60 meters. What's your take on that?
Julian Alfred is in a position right now where this is expected. And it's so, let me tell you, I was an athlete, so I know at the end of the day, performance is not a straight line. You have times based on the condition, based on your level of physical conditioning at a particular point. You have times where you want to make sure that you peak at, say, a world championship. So you want to make sure you pace yourself and you use the science to really look at how you're progressing. Julian Alfred would tell you that she's not even satisfied with 7.02 or whatever it was. It is the world leading time. It gives comfort to me that, of course, she knows and she has ran sub 7, and that she's just not comfortable. And that's a lesson to our young people, no matter where you are, because this is the fastest time ran so far this year. The fastest woman over 60 meters so far this year that is not satisfied. So I think that is the lesson here for other young people. Keep working and keep striving to do better and better. She looked very comfortable in the race. She looked very healthy, fit. And so that tells me that she's been thinking about the World Championships and how we can get Jeffers to be in reverse the next time she runs against her.
Okay, thank you. Sienna Dalto from Choice TV. This is a question that comes from the wider newsroom, especially given Julian's performance over the weekend. It raised a concern as to the fuller utilization of the George Autumn Stadium in Beaufort. So is there any chance you could speak to that? Are there plans to repair the stadium perhaps in the next financial year?
Okay. So when the Prime Minister negotiated with the Saudis for the completion of St. Jude, he also, you see why I tell you the man is a mystery, he's always prepared. He also negotiated for financing to reconstruct the George Autumn Stadium. So immediately after we've removed all the patients and placed them in the new St. Jude, we'll start the construction and renovation at the George Autumn Stadium. So what we have ongoing proactively is the creation of the designs and all the other architectural drawings and the dynamics that we need to ensure that soon after we've removed all of the patients from the George Autumn Stadium, that we can actually start work on the physical facility and to hopefully gift that to the St. Lucia Athletics Association as quickly as we possibly can. In addition to that, we have been doing some serious work on the Soufrière Mini Stadium. We continue to develop that facility. We have a lot of challenges with accreditation simply because of the way the stadium was designed. You need to have at least 3, I would say, field events for you to meet accreditation. And of course, because of the limited space and because of the synthetics on the entire area, you're not able to do javelin, you're not able to do shot put, you're not able to do discus. So the only way is if we relocate the long jump pit that was then put on the D. Anybody who had any very cursory knowledge of track and field would have said to you, this is not an area you put long jump because the individual needs a run-up. And so they put it on what we call the D, which is the curve and a cross, which is not ideal to meet accreditation. So we would have to try and find an area. And if you go to Soufrière, you would see that there's really no space to actually put no other space to put a long jump. And it would allow, if we are able to do that, we're able to do a long jump, triple jump, and high jump, which would meet that threshold of 3 field events to meet accreditation. But we continue to strive, we continue to see what we can do, and to rectify a horrible mistake made by the previous government in building that facility and renovating that facility without the technical support of the ministry. So we continue to try our best. But the track and field fraternity, I think they'll be very happy with this administration at the end of this term. Yeah.
Speaking of sporting facilities, one of your gripes, if I could call it that, was the use of these facilities for events. Now, we know Carnival and Jazz is coming up again, are coming up again. I know there were also talks of having a facility in cul-de-sac just for that. Where are we with those plans?
Okay, so for me as a minister of now education, but youth, sports, digital transformation, I'm very concerned. I'm going to continue to express my concern on how those facilities are left after an event. We've made some good strides with the Ministry of Tourism in terms of VG, providing the finances to get VG back up to where it was, but we're not satisfied with places like Soufrière. We have had some challenges in terms of stoppers being on a synthetic track, oil being dumped on a track. And so we continue to have those challenges, and I continue to negotiate with users to do better. The financing for the National Entertainment Center, the way I have couched it, we've not reached that amount yet, but we do have the designs, and we continue pressing towards having that. We have the location, which is very important, but very soon we will be talking about the amount and when we can actually commence the construction of that area. But it's not called cul-de-sac. I don't know where that cul-de-sac thing came from. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Mr. Minister, you were speaking about road infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Now we know there was one little troubling issue along the Marisil-Bardowaz Road, this right turn.
Yeah.
For a while there, it seems like it appears that it was working. Mm-hmm. But then we've seen policemen now. I mean, I travel up and down this road, and they've cautioned some guys as to didn't they see the right turn, or is it working? Is it efficiently? Is it efficient working along this roadway to divert the traffic and keep it at a...
Okay, so a lot of the times we have those challenges is when we have a lot of work happening in Vieux-Sequi. So what has happened over the last 6 months is a lot of individuals have used the Vieux-Sequi option to really alleviate some of the traffic on the main road. But in recent times, you've seen a lot of work on the drainage in Vieux-Sequi, the retaining walls in Vieux-Sequi that have put the contractor in a position where he's had to close Vieux-Sequi. So once there is a close at Vieux-Sequi, and then you have the additional indiscipline and lawlessness of the actual drivers who still go to try to turn right, you have that bottleneck being created. So we have a situation where we are advancing in terms of the works at Vieux-Sequi, and we have the indiscipline of the people who are not going to actually adhere to the laws. And so that is why you're seeing a stronger police presence in that area, especially on days where you know Vieux-Sequi is closed and everybody is using that main road. But what is actually saying to us and showing us is that Vieux-Sequi project is something that is going to alleviate a lot of the traffic on the main road. I envisage that a lot of people who live in Moshi, Beauséjour, they will use Vieux-Sequi as an alternative instead of the main road. But when they do use the main road, we see additional traffic. So if at the end of the day, to be very honest, I was not happy with the way it was communicated that we needed to have a no right turn. I really felt that the ministry could have done a better job of preparing everybody and showing them the benefit of it. But once it started, we all saw that the traffic flowed better, except for days when we have that construction work happening in Vieux-Sequi. So I advise everybody, the law is there for a reason. Let's all follow the law and ensure that we do not turn right when we get to Computer World.
Just another issue quickly. So in terms of transporting school students, we know there was one time where, buses were, given permission to take kids to school. And lately, it's noticed that some drivers don't pick up children on the road because they don't want to go down the highway. So kids go into the Carmel Henry, and they have to be, they wait until a bus is ready to take them. But also there's some transportation that takes kids. Would it be feasible sometime to have actual transportation for students to alleviate all this kind of congestion?
I think that's a question for the Minister of Transport. I do have my own vision on how this can be tackled. I will, once it's brought up in cabinet, I will share my perspective on what we can do as it pertains to children. We have some models from other countries that I think we can investigate, and I've had some discussions with people from the transport sector on what we should be doing as it pertains to transporting students and bus drivers not picking up students. First and foremost, I'm disappointed that the bus drivers would do that, but I believe that's a question that the Ministry of Transport should be able to tell you in terms of the way forward for dealing with it.